Thank you for joining us back here on Lesson 3 on Beyond Closing. Now, in the video that you observed in Lesson 2, you probably didn't pick up the key, what really got people to buy in that commercial, but we're going to learn that in the next session. But for now, let's review. Level 1 is talking to the conscious mind. That's the lowest level of closing. Do you want to pay by cash or check, or what's it going to take to put you into this automobile? But as professionals, I'm sure most of us listening here know the skills of closing to the subconscious mind, which is level 2. I just want to review them because they're going to be very important in our next lesson. And I'll give you a couple examples after you hear how this works. And when you hear how this works, and I give you the examples, pay close attention because there's a tip, there's a key in here that'll give you a hint of what we're really going to do on level 4 closing. And remember, level 4 closing is the highest, most powerful way of closing, and that's where we want to be as professionals. So again, let's get started. Here's a little excerpt from that workshop in Singapore. Are you ready to go to work? Let me show you how the back of the mind works. When you talk to people, they're going to be thinking, oh, no, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to believe you. It's too good to be true. You are a salesman. You're just trying to get me to do things. You got some serious issues. There's a salesman program. I don't believe you program. You're trying to get something out of me program. All these things are going against you. You talk, that information comes up to all these programs, you go bounce, tinkle, tinkle, tinkle on the floor, and you're dead. So how do you get by that? I'll show you one way to close people to get their final decision instantly. So I've got a pencil and paper. Write down these words because we're going to talk to the subconscious mind. The first words we're going to say is this. Before I show you how this works, comma. Before I show you how this works, comma. Now, if you say to somebody, before I show you how this works, to them that means that sales presentation is going to be when? Later. Right now they can relax. They can turn down all those programs, all those sales defenses. They don't have to worry about too good to be true. They can relax. So you say, before I show you how this works. That means you still have a chance to talk to them before it starts bouncing off their foreheads. Then you say these words. Let me tell you what happened to, and you can say, let me tell you what happened to me, or let me tell you what happened to one of our other clients. Let's just say you're in a sales situation. You say, before I show you how this works, let me tell you what happened to our client. Now, when you say, let me tell you what happened to somebody else, to them, they think that you are going to tell them a story. Now, stories have special programs in the human mind. Let me tell you what happens when you tell somebody a story. You're at work here one day. You're walking down the hallway. 3 people are standing together. One of them is telling a story. What do you want to do? Listen to the story. There is a program in the human mind that runs us. There's a program that says this. If anybody, anywhere, at any time is telling a story, we have to stop and listen to the story. And let's do it all the way to the end. Because we cannot go on in life until we know how the story ends. It's called the story program. So when you tell a story, they want to know how the story ends. The human mind, we love stories. You're going to get their attention right away. Ooh, how did the story end? Now, I don't know if you've ever received this television show in Singapore, but in the United States we have a television show 20 years ago called Dukes of Hazzard. In this show, they had this fast car. Before every commercial, it went flying through the air, and then they had a commercial. And we had to wait till the commercials were over to see if the car came down. We want to know how stories end. So you will hold the attention of somebody when you say this, because they want to hear the story. If you don't do this, here's what they're thinking. From the moment you sit down, they can have one thought at a time. Trust me, it's not yours. From the moment you move your lips, when do you think they stop listening? That moment. When you move your lips, they're thinking, oh no, salesman. They're going to ask me for money. It's always too good to be true. I don't want to change suppliers. I don't want any change in my life. And they're going to trick me. Salesman, take your money. I don't have any money, and we've got to pay my credit card next week. And will the children call when they get home? Will survivor 13 get off of island 14? all these thoughts go through their mind. They don't even hear what you're talking about. And if they're not listening to what you're talking about, you're dead. So when you tell a story, you will guarantee they're listening. Now, stories are like crack cocaine to the human mind. We can't resist them. When you were 2 years old or 3 years old, you said, Mommy, Daddy, tell me a story. We love stories. And what's nice about stories is when we hear a story, we say, oh, it's not a sales presentation, it's just a story. You lean back and enjoy the story. And the information comes past all of that garbage and filters. It slips past it and goes directly in the mind. They want to hear how the story ends. How many people here can remember stories from when you're a small child? The human mind is set up to remember stories. Before the written word, information was passed on from generation to generation with stories. So when you say, before I show you how this works, let me tell you what happened to a client, they just can't wait to hear what happened. So all you have to do is tell them a story of one of your clients that had a good experience, or maybe you're trying to get somebody to do better production, right? And all you do is tell them a story. So let me just give you some examples. Let me give you some examples of some level 2 closing to the subconscious mind with the story technique. Let's say, for an example, I'm a lady selling skincare, and I have this wonderful nighttime moisturizer. Instead of saying the moisturizer is good and we have research and our scientists can beat up your scientists and our secret ingredient was picked underneath a rock in China, instead, when I sit down with a prospect, I might say this. Before I show you how this night cream works, let me tell you what happened to me. Every morning I'd wake up, wash my face, and look at the fine lines and wrinkles. And then at night, when I clean off my makeup, I'd always say to myself, will I wrinkle just a little bit more tonight? So that's why I bought this skincare, because they said, hey, it'll help your skin overnight. And guess what? Right now, when I look in the mirror, I feel that I'm getting younger every night while I sleep just by using this skincare cream. Now, in the prospect's mind, they're thinking, story, I could see myself. Oh, yeah. And they put themselves in the story, and they see their skin getting younger while they sleep. And they make a decision, you know what, this is what I want to buy. And this is before they've read the label, saw the brochure, or watched the video or DVD, or hear the scientific explanation. The whole decision was made first in their subconscious mind. Because their subconscious mind has a program that says you don't want to wrinkle because it makes you look old. But maybe you don't sell skincare. You might say this. Before I show you how this business works, let me tell you what happened to me. Every day at 2 o'clock, I'd be at work, bored out of my mind, just waiting to fall asleep or waiting to go home. And then one day at 2 o'clock, my dream-sucking vampire boss, he came by and said, work harder. I want you to work as hard as you can till 5 o'clock, and then you can go home, rest a little bit, and do it all over again for the next 40 years. And I got thinking, oh man, they're turning me into a human zombie. This is not what I wanted in life. I want a life of my own. And they're turning me into a human zombie, and then when I'm 65, they'll just let me die. That's why I joined this business. But anyway, let me show you how this business works. Well, by the time I've said, anyway, let me show you how this business works, they have pictured themselves at work all that time, and their dream-sucking vampire boss coming by and saying, you know what? Work harder. And they don't want that in their life, and they made a decision, I want an opportunity. And the sale's been made before we've even presented our program or told them about the wonderful company or if the founders can levitate or the comp plan that will end all comp plans. The decision's already been made. Let me give you another example. Let's say that you sold weight loss products, and you might come to me and say, Big Al, before I show you how these weight loss products work, let me tell you what happened to me. Every family reunion, I was called the roly-poly uncle. I was the uncle they made fun of for being overweight. And I got tired of that. So I was introduced to this weight loss program, and it turned my body into a fat-burning machine 24 hours a day. And I said, that's what I need to look slim, and they can't call me the roly-poly uncle anymore. But anyway, let me show you how these products work. Well, in my mind, the sale's already made, because I want to turn my body into a fat-burning machine. Let's do one more example. And maybe this is politically incorrect or slightly exaggerated, but I want you to remember that the story at the beginning is everything. Let's say that you're a young mother with children at home and you're talking to other young mothers with children at home. So you might say this if this happened to you. You might say, before I show you how this business works, let me tell you what happened to me. One day I went to pick up my children from daycare, and of course I put them in daycare because I want a career to work hard to give them the things they want. And when I picked up my babies from daycare, they turned around and said to the babysitter, "Goodbye, Mommy." And then I knew that I spent too much time at work and not enough time with my children. And at that moment I decided to have my own home-based business because I want to be there with my children when they grow up. But anyway, let me tell you how this business works. Now, to another young mother, the decision's been made in their mind. They don't want that to happen either. They want to see their children grow up. So that's how closing to the subconscious mind works with the story technique. But we're going to take it up much, much higher. And in our next lesson, I'm going to introduce you the key to level 4. And when you see how easy it is, you'll wonder why more people don't use it. And then you'll notice everybody using it that are professionals. You'll see it on advertising. You'll see it when people talk about products. When professionals want to sell you something, they use these special level 4 techniques. See you on the next lesson.